Back to edX Pixel Virtual Expo and Blue Hope World Children's Day session. And today we will be talking about asking the tough questions with regards to plastic pollution. So herewith, I would like to just convene towards this as upcoming session because I think it is an important discussion, especially when we have both youth and also adults talking about what matters for the future, of course. So herewith, I would like to introduce the moderator for today, and she is none other than Melissa Tan, an ambassador for Malaysia to the Earth Day Network. And of course, she will be joined briefly from a whole range of panelists, starting from Dr. Siva, Ms. Azliza Asmil, Emi Wee, Stephen Harris, Claire Sansalot, Sophia Farida Muhammad Shukri, Ho Su Yi, Cindy Shang, Chen Hui Ling, and of course some participation from 10B schools. Herewith, without any further ado, I will pass the baton over to Melissa. Melissa, over to you.
Thanks so much, Nora, for having me and for passing the floor over. Hi, everyone. I'll be your moderator for today, and today I'll be representing the Earth Day Network, now known as Earth Day Org, as the ambassador from Malaysia. And very well described, Nora. Today we're going to be looking at the issue of plastic pollution through the eyes of Malaysian children and youth. And in this session, the next generation will have the opportunity to ask the adults the tough questions. Namely, what are the adults doing to help save the environment for the future of us? So what we hope for this session is a robust conversation that will help challenge and inspire us and businesses to act in a cohesive manner to solve the problem of plastic pollution. Namely, we are passing the generation and we're passing the baton off to the youth for us to look to them for inspiration instead. First off, I'll be introducing myself. Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm a TV host, a producer, an actress, a model, but more importantly, I'm a climate activist and a zero waste advocate. And I use my platform to advocate for sustainable living and fashion, climate action, and other areas of the circular economy. I believe very strongly in the power of the individual because the world is made up of individuals who are in schools, communities, businesses, industry leaders, government, and that's where they'll impact change. As a passionate environmental speaker, I also produce events like the Conscious Market and Clothes Swaps to engage the public in sustainable living. I'm also a trained climate reality leader, and again today I'm here in my capacity as the ambassador for the earthday.org for Malaysia. For all of you who are not familiar with earthday.org, they work in countries around the world to drive meaningful action for our planet across these issues: climate action, science and education, peoples and communities, conservation and restoration, plastic and pollution. They grew out the first Earth Day on April 22nd, 1970. And this pivotal moment in history saw citizens across the globe unite to ensure a greener, cleaner, and less polluted planet in which natural wealth increases and waste is managed. They celebrated their 50th anniversary in 2020, and this organization counts on ongoing engagements with over 50,000 organizations in 195 countries to mobilize and broaden the environmental movement worldwide. Apart from their efforts in major campaigns like the Great Global Cleanup, which removes billions of pieces of trash from the environment, environmental education and literacy, particularly at early stages for children, is a key focus for earthday.org. So earthday.org wants governments attending the crucial United Nations Climate Summit in late 2021 to make climate change a core feature of the school curriculum across the globe, working on an ongoing global petition calling on governments to commit to urgent action on climate and environmental literacy at COP26 in Glasgow, UK. We would also love to invite the organizations here and the organizations watching to sign on. So without further ado, let's jump on to our youth panel and as I go, I will introduce them as we go along and invite them to present their efforts in the current moment. So let's kick it off with Hui Wen from 10B Schools, Setia Eco Park.
Hi everyone, so I'm Hui Wen from Tembi International Schools SAP, and I'm a Year 11 prefect. Oh, apologies, there's a problem with the agenda, so Leanne is supposed to present, not me. So I'll pass the baton to Leanne.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Leanne from Tembi Sitekopa.
And I'm Singjin. Today, we're going to present all the amazing ways our community has approached the significant topic of plastic issues and environmental consciousness. In the past, we have identified areas in which we needed to improve our green footprint. Our entire school, parents, students, and teachers alike, has been working passionately to reduce the amount of plastic consumption on a daily basis. We have seen impactful change ever since the initiative began. However, before we went into a second lockdown, we saw an increase in single-use plastics, just like any other school in the nation. We use plastic containers and plastic cutlery for every meal and disposed of them once we were done eating. Even under normal circumstances, single-use plastics in food consumption has been a prominent issue that we've been trying to combat. Over the past few years, our eco-community has strived to tackle this plastic dilemma and has raised awareness over a variety of mediums.
Our eco-committee has been leading the charge for sustainable and environmental change in our school. It's a medium where students can empower our school, who has been actively involved with other agencies and NGOs such as the Department of Environmental Malaysia, MBSA, and National Water Services Commissions. In 2018, we received the Green Flag Award, which is the highest award a school can attain for its environmental achievement. Our previous head of the eco-committee, Hannah Lee, was awarded the Eco Champion Award from WWF. Xiaojia and Chandan, two of our eco-committee members, have been also selected as part of the Green Council for Eco Schools Malaysia under WWF. We are immensely proud of what our eco-committee and the entire school have achieved in our path towards environmental awareness.
We have provided a diverse plethora of eco-awareness opportunities for our whole school community. Whether it be talks, community engagement activities, or in-school eco-conferences, we are always working towards environmental awareness and action. Last year, our school hosted a riveting eco-conference, which inspired lots of our student community to advocate for environmental justice and awareness. It united students with a common cause and educated them with modernized and engaging methods. As a campus-wide engagement activity, we take part in World Cleanup Day annually, inviting students and parents alike to join us in cleaning up the local area. Here at Tembi, we encourage our whole community to get involved, not just students, and that's brought more people together for this common cause. We were also given the unforgettable opportunity of making 1,000 eco bricks in order to help an Orang Asli community build vegetable plots. Our community has been engaged in lots of different eco activities, and it has had a significant impact.
We've also been lucky enough to invite guest speakers from environmental agencies and NGOs to educate our community on the significance of environmental sustainability and how we can each do our part in curbing the destruction of Mother Nature. In 2018, Anthony Tan from the Center for Environment, Technology and Development Malaysia gave his students an engaging talk on the topic of energy consumption. It really resonated with us students as we understood how much of an impact our daily lives had on the environment. Our school has never stopped pursuing learning even with the challenges of MCO. Just a few months ago, Dr. Dionysus S.K. Sharma gave the Tembi community an online webinar on the topic of humanity's impact on planet Earth and animal-transmitted diseases. Although it was held online, lots of members of the Tembi community attended the webinar and felt intrigued throughout. It was an experience unlike any other during the quarantine, but we still strove for environmental awareness.
The eco community and various other individuals in the Tembi community have provided a diverse myriad of opportunities for the rest of the community to broaden their understanding of the significance of the environment.
We as students of Tembi ourselves are perpetually astounded by the number of eco-related opportunities provided for us. As a Green Flag school, Tembi is certainly one that has made an impact on the environmental awareness fight.
This is a great example of amazing learning beyond the classroom.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great day ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lian and Sing Jun. Next up, we have Sophia Farida, founder of Eco Garage in University of Nottingham, Malaysia.
Hello, I'm Sophia. You can see my screen, right, Melissa? Yep. So I'm a third-year student of University of Nottingham, Malaysia, and also a founder of Eco Garage. Eco Garage is where you invest in people. We believe that everyone is capable to contribute into environmental uplifting. Whether you're a school kid, a mom, a dad, a business owner, or just Joe from HR, what you choose to consume and throw away brings an impact to the whole world. Eco Garage believes that we are not a drop in the ocean, but an ocean in a drop. Our objective here is to cultivate communities to contribute into environmental uplifting. And how we do that is by offering educational awareness on the topic of environmental sustainability and investing in innovative green technology for communities to leverage on. As a startup, we plan to target small first, and this is from our own community, the University of Nottingham, Malaysia. Our understanding of its systems and people makes this the best place for our pilot project, as we are students and alumnus of Nottingham. We observe that the campus has a student population that are ready to learn about environmental awareness and are ready to start taking action. As of plastic waste management, there is still a lack of understanding on proper recycling habits from both the students and the university. So we came together with the school's management, lecturers, and students to take the first step to implement a better plastic management system on campus. Today, Eco Garage is creating an optional education syllabus available for all Nottingham, Malaysia students to take up. And that is a collaborative project that we are working with our lecturers and other university students. We include the topic of pollution, circular economy, and also a practical session to recycle plastics at a micro-recycling center on campus that we plan to build. This micro-recycling center is called Precious Plastics, a revolutionary open source innovation made by Dave Hankins from the Netherlands. Precious Plastics is capable to make beautiful products such as baskets and even sunglasses. So we will fabricate this idea and hope to improve our community. In the future, we plan to tackle bigger tasks, to explore more communities, to work with more people, to turn waste into a resource. With every community we approach, we want to firstly educate them to think sustainably by providing necessary educations and skills through capacity building. And secondly, establish innovative green technology that will facilitate proper waste management plans. With that, I'd like to end with something that I learned from Kristalina Georgieva, the head of IMF. It sparked an idea with me that pushes me to strive for this, for Eco Garage. And she mentioned something along the lines of this. When we think about the word global warming, it might not sound alarming to many of us, as most of us live comfortably in the city or suburban area where we are surrounded by a materialistic world, living comfortably within our homes with fresh water running from our taps. Slowly, we can already see that pollution has started making its way into our towns, from polluted rivers to overflowing landfills. Still, many of us can't grasp on how the climate crisis would look like. But now we are experiencing a health crisis, a pandemic that has affected every aspect of how we live our daily lives, with millions already fallen victims from this deadly virus and millions more fighting to survive. Along with our rapid lack of healthcare supplies, kids can't go to schools, and some can't even meet the people that they love face to face. So with what you are experiencing now, imagine what a climate crisis would look like on top of that. So this idea motivates Eco Garage to keep learning and contributing for a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Thank you so much, Sophia. That was incredible. I love how you connected it to every single person in the world, no matter how small or big. The climate crisis is connected to all of us. Next up, I'm really looking forward to hear from Sui Kaur, the co-founder of Zero Waste Malaysia, an NGO I'm very positively impacted by. Sui, take it away.
Thank you, Melissa, and nice to meeting all of the panelists here, and also for the audience who tune in online. Yeah, so my name is Sui. I'm one of the co-founder and also director of Zero Waste Malaysia. So established in 2016, we are a non-profit organization which advocates for sustainable development and aims to increase the local community's awareness on sustainable living. So particularly through the advocations of a zero waste lifestyle by leading as an example. So since then, we have grown to over a group of 50,000 passionate individuals striving for a sustainable waste-free Malaysia. So as in general, a zero waste lifestyle is a way of life that minimizes the general waste footprint and embraces circular economy by challenging conventional methods to reduce waste generations and utilizing waste as input materials. So Zero Waste Malaysia encourage everyone to shift our mindset from the current take, make, dispose culture, practice environmental responsible habits, and get our creative juice flowing to realize the reusability potential of waste. So in terms of online engagement, we do a lot of social media content to increase the awareness about sustainable living by adopting a zero waste lifestyle. And we believe that individual actions do make a change, and we don't need a handful of people to do zero waste perfectly, but we do need millions of people to do it imperfectly. So in terms of offline campaign, we also provide talks and also awareness campaign to the schools, corporates to learn about sustainable living. Aside from that, Zero Waste Malaysia also strive to be as a resource platform for the community to live zero waste, because we believe that zero waste living is for everyone, and zero waste lifestyle is not just about it's not an expensive lifestyle. It's not just about choosing something to buy, choosing zero waste alternative to buy, but it's more or less to choose not to buy and to reuse and make do what you already have. So in terms of online resources, aside from social media content, we also provide this Zero Waste Malaysia map, which is considered the first zero waste map in Asia that pinpoint up to 700 pins locations for people to access to live zero waste. So this includes the 10 categories, from example, package-free shopping, from bulk food, household care, or even we also cover the categories including repair shops, where people can find places to repair their luggage, watches, or even small things like cooking pot. Yeah, so we do encourage people to recycling less, because recycling is an energy intensive process. So we emphasize on refuse, reduce, reuse. After will be recycle and rot, which is inspired by the Zero Waste Home from the author of Zero Waste Home, B. Johnson. Aside from that, in June this year, we also launched the ZWM lesson, and also the Wira Zero Waste program, which is a virtual classroom for the students age range from 11 to 17 years old to learn about sustainable living, including 5 topics from knowing what is waste to where does waste goes, and also type of waste, how much waste could we produce, and what could we actually do about it as an individual. So we also cover this lesson plan, which is available to download for free on our website. We try to be inclusive as much as possible. So we do include 4 main Malaysian languages, from Bahasa Malaysia, Bahasa English, Bahasa Mandarin, as well as Bahasa Tamil. So they are all free for download for the educators to learn how to use it to educate their students, children, or even for parents to educate their young kids. As well as we wanted to bring zero waste awareness to higher level, which is including business level, we also developed the Zero Waste Pledge program to allow businesses to help evaluate sustainable businesses who is actually implementing zero waste practice at their business model. Yeah, so that's all from Zero Waste Malaysia, and I would pass the mic to Melissa then. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sui. I would highly encourage anyone here to check out what Zero Waste Malaysia does, because it has made my zero waste living so much simpler over the last 3 years. And what they do really increases accessibility to everyone in Malaysia, and regardless of gender, age, or locality. Thank you so much, Sui, for that. And last but not least, let's hear from Chen Hui Ling, the PhD student from University of Nottingham, Malaysia, on her work in microplastics.
Right, thank you, Melissa. Um, so I'll start with introducing myself. So I'm Hui Ling. I'm currently a PhD student from the University of Nottingham, Malaysia. And so last year I graduated with a bachelor's majoring in environmental sciences, and currently I'm furthering my studies in microplastics. So my previous research includes household waste management and recycling, and also the plastic waste management in Malaysia. So my affiliations, of course, University of Nottingham, and also the Hydroecology Lab, where most of our work focuses on river ecosystems. So we carry out research studying land cover change, fluvial geomorphology, and also assess sediment loads in the rivers. So our goal in this lab is to protect the river ecosystems and water resources in Malaysia. So I'm going to talk about microplastics. What exactly are they? So microplastics are plastics that are smaller than 5 millimeters in size. So basically, there are tiny, tiny plastic fragments. And the reason why they are this tiny is because they either break down from large debris when you throw your trash, when they end up in the landfill or the ocean. Through degradation, physical or chemical, they'll break down into smaller plastic pieces. And the second reason is because they are made to be microscopic in size. So for example, if you have micro beads in your bath gels or your toothpaste, or even in your manicure, your little caviar beads, those are microplastics. So microplastics, they can be found everywhere. They're in the clothes you wear. So let's say if the clothes that you wear is not 100% cotton, then highly likely there will be microfibers in it. They're also in the food that you eat and the water that you drink, also in the air that you breathe, because when you wear your microfiber clothing and you walk around, then chances are there will be microfibers flying around the air. So a little bit about my research. My research focuses mainly on river ecosystems. So I spend most of my time by the river. So my sites are in the Semenyih and Langat River. And what I do is I monitor the concentration of microplastics through a 12-month period. And my site ranges from rural areas to urban areas. And the reason for this is because I want to find out if microplastics in the river are affected by urbanization, and also to see if the river flow and suspended sediments will affect the concentration of microplastics in the river. So after collecting my samples from the river, I will bring it back to the lab, process them, and filter them onto filter papers. And then after that, I'll look at them under the microscope. So here's what microplastic look like under a microscope. They come in different shapes, different sizes, different colors, and some of them can look really pretty, but obviously it's not pretty for our environment. So here you can see a little micro beads, a few fragments and films, and also some fibers. And bear in mind that these are not the actual size, so they are really, really small. Some of them you can't see with your naked eye, and these are 30 to 40 times magnification. So what is the importance of doing all these research in terms of when it comes to solving the plastic pollution issue that we have right now? So research, it's really important because we need to understand the severity of the problem. So in Malaysia right now, we do not have enough studies about microplastics, and certainly not in river ecosystems. So we do not know the concentration, and hence we cannot assess the risk and also the impacts microplastics have on ecological and also human health. So with research, we'll be able to develop management strategies and policies to help solve the plastic pollution issue that we have right now. And I believe that with science, we can definitely make a difference. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing the reality of microplastics with us, Hui Ling. I think that should scare enough of us into action, because it is truly almost irrecoverable and impacts us on so many levels that we just do not understand yet. So thank you so much to all our youth panelists for all your wonderful presentations. I think it truly captures the sentiment of the youth in Malaysia. It stems from an urgency that is felt by all of us, but more importantly, it is how they take action that is truly inspiring. Youth and grassroots movements are interconnected in a synergistic relationship, and it's how they collaborate and create greater impact is how we can be influenced by them. I would argue they're leading the conversation in our fight against the climate crisis and plastic pollution. Now, without further ado, let us turn our attention next to a country that has an equally big coastline to Malaysia and an ocean domain bigger than the landmass of India, and how they have plans to deal with plastic pollution. So I would like to introduce Stephen Harris, founder of Maui's Art and member of the New Zealand Prime Minister's Chief Science Advisors Advisory Group, Rethinking Plastics, to provide an overview of how New Zealand is dealing with this problem. Let us just get Stephen into, oh yes, Stephen, you're currently muted. So if you just unmute,
okay.
Yeah.
Kia ora. It's very good to be joining you from Wellington, New Zealand, and to be taking part in this wonderful webinar. My name is Stephen Harris, as Melissa said, and I'm the founder of Maui's Ark. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you have something interesting to look at while I'm talking. As Melissa introduced, New Zealand is a large coastline. We're very much a maritime nation, and I think if you look at that photograph on the left, you get a sense of why we think the health of the ocean is such an important thing. And then to our north, those light blue areas are the marine domains of the many small island countries that we work with in the South Pacific, many of which are specks in the middle of their huge ocean estates. So what I just wanted to talk about a little today was why combating plastic in the ocean is a priority for New Zealand, and what is happening here in New Zealand, but also to talk a little about some of the work I was doing up until earlier this year before COVID interrupted it, dealing with plastic pollution in the ocean and waterways of 54 countries across the Commonwealth. What will become very evident, and this has been said already by some of our speakers, is that we cannot make progress unless we are collaborating very effectively across all of society and industry. So I'm trying to move my screen down, trying to get the my presentation to move on to the next screen. Excuse me one moment. There we go. Okay. Just a very quick snapshot. We know the scale of the problem, but just a few statistics here will give a sense of what the World Wildlife Fund estimated to be the situation back in 2016. Those figures speak for themselves, but I think that last line is the key to what we are trying to achieve in this webinar and in so many other activities. We really have to act across all sectors if we're going to have any chance whatsoever of combating this problem that is taking off and getting worse much more quickly than we're finding effective ways of dealing with it. First of all, a bit of a snapshot. Plastics is obviously a gateway issue. And what do I mean by that? Well, if we can effectively deal with plastic, if we can come up with approaches and collaborative models to really grapple with this problem of plastic pollution, it opens the way to being effective in dealing with some of the other issues that are caused by economic behavior. Climate change is one of the bigger ones, but there are many others in terms of pollution, in terms of industrial waste, that sort of thing. The good thing about plastics, and this is where we have an advantage over trying to deal with climate change, is we all we can touch it and we can feel it and we all use it, so we understand the issue. Plastic has that ability to travel across borders because it floats, and of course as microplastics it can be very damaging in that respect. Like climate change, because it's a consequence of economic behaviour, some of the most effective ways of dealing with it are through economic measures, and the circular economy thinking that I'm sure some of you have spent some time thinking about is one way of doing it. And at the core of that really is valuing plastic as a resource rather than seeing it simply as a disposable product that then becomes an environmental problem. Here we go. Last year in New Zealand, I was part of a very interesting project with around a dozen others, most of them scientists, working with the Prime Minister's Chief Science Advisor to take a bit of a 360-degree view of New Zealand's plastics addiction. We really wanted to understand why we use it, where it comes from, how we can deal with it. And we worked for 9 months coming up with a plan. And the Prime Minister was so impressed with it that she said that she would use it as her implementation guide for policy. What's really interesting about our Prime Minister was when she became Prime Minister 3 years ago, she didn't know there was a problem, but she got bombarded by letters from school kids telling her that they were really upset at the amount of plastic that was in the oceans of New Zealand and she needed to do something about it. So we were part of that solution. And the plan is really encapsulated in this diagram here, just to try to find some levers for being able to move society at all levels to change their behaviour. She promised that she would turn those recommendations into policy, and she was as good as her word. So we have now a package that we're waiting to be implemented under this National Plastics Action Plan. Meanwhile, while I was working on that project, I was also working alongside the UK and Vanuatu in the Pacific under a program called the Commonwealth Clean Ocean Alliance. That was one of 10, the bottom one there on this list, where the Commonwealth was trying to say, you know, we have large ocean interests in the Commonwealth, and we need to be able to be a leader in dealing with some of those problems. And so those are 10 of that list of 10 topics is how we went about it, how it was prioritised. Because 12 out of those 54 Commonwealth countries are in the South Pacific, they have a big interest in the success of the Commonwealth Clean Ocean Alliance. And it's not just in the area of plastic pollution. You can see here in the main island of Tuvalu just how difficult it is for them finding somewhere to put all their plastic waste. But this is just one of those problems. Climate change is a much bigger issue, particularly sea level rise. And they also grapple with some other of the ocean stresses like coral reef depletion and fish stock depletion and that sort of thing. So what we were really trying to do is say, okay, plastic, again, it's a gateway issue. How can we work together as a group of Pacific Island countries so that the solutions that we come up with collectively have a lot more impact than the ones that we can do just country by country? And one of the big challenges that the small Pacific Island countries face is that they import a lot of their plastics, but then they've got nowhere to send it. So we've really been, I think, quite effective in bringing together actors across the community, across governments. We've had very good support from business, just to try to work out how we can work on consumer behaviour and on industrial models and that sort of thing to try to reduce the amount of plastic that they use, but then what they were able to do with it after it's needing to be disposed of. We've even had the support of a shipping company, Swire Group, which says it will pick up the plastic from the smaller island countries and take it to depots on the bigger islands where it can be recycled. So that's a good example, I think, of how value chains can operate collaboratively. And in all of those countries, it's been really gratifying to see the enthusiasm of the school children in particular, and the fact that the government is seeing the schools as one of their strongest allies in trying to change the behaviour of the older people in the societies, whom they say are pretty resistant to change. So that's really something that I think this webinar, it's the kind of topic that this webinar can really discuss, how countries can work together to come up with collaborative solutions to a problem that affects us all and travels across boundaries. I think that Malaysia, being another island country like New Zealand, has a lot to offer. And we certainly see some similarities between the pressures in the Pacific and the pressures in some countries in Southeast Asia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Stephen. The key takeaway I took from that was all sectors must act together, and the spirit of collaboration is necessary to move the needle. It can't just be based on ethical motivations, but reconciling the economic agenda to move towards where we need to go. So before we move into the anticipated Q&A portion of our time together today, let us understand a little bit more of what our business panel members here are doing in their current operations to reduce plastic pollution. So let's kick it off with Amy Uy, Corporate Communications Manager of Nestle, to share with us a little bit more on their current initiatives.
Hello, everybody. So let me just put on the presentation. Okay. There seems to be like something which I have to, who can share, all panelists. Okay. How can the someone from the tech help out, because there's this advanced sharing options.
Hi,
can't seem to
Amy.
close. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you experiencing now?
When I'm pressing share screen, there is advanced sharing options which I can't close, and I'm not able to share.
Okay, can you go back off the sharing first and then start again?
Hi, Amy. You just need to click on to the X sign at the top of the advanced sharing, then you're good to go.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yep,
Yes, but
okay,
yep.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. My name is Amy. I'm from Nestle, and I'm pleased to share with you the Nestle Green Gladiators journey in tackling the plastic waste challenge. So what we have today is that, firstly, let me share with you Nestle's global commitment to packaging. So our vision is to ensure that none of our packaging, including plastics, end up in landfill or as litter. And our commitment to achieve this is that 100% of our packaging is recyclable or reusable by 2025. But we know just 100% is not enough. So what do we then do? First things first, for all this to happen, we have internally an internal task force called the Nestle Green Gladiators, and where more than 150 of our employees are leading the action on plastic waste. So you may ask why gladiators? Is because we realize that the issue of plastic is a really mammoth one, and it would really need strong people like a gladiator to actually help to manage it. So hence the name. And apart from that, what I would like to share with you today is we're very proud that we are the first F&B company in ASEAN to introduce paper straws for packaging at this scale. And as of last month, we've actually moved 100% of our UHT range to paper straws. So this includes the Milos and our Omega Plus milk, as well as milk such as Just Milk. And this has actually allowed us to eliminate about 200 million plastic straws per year. And the paper that we actually use from the paper straws is actually of sustainable sources. So I must admit it was not an easy task because what happens is that having a straight paper straw is easy, but having them bendable is the one where we had a little bit of problem. But suffice to say, we were able to help to manage this problem. The other project that we were really happy and proud to collaborate with Tetra Pak is the Katten project, where we actually convert drinks packs to dream homes. So what do we mean by that? Is that the used beverage cartons that we actually collect back, we will actually convert them into roofing tiles, which we will then use to build homes for the underprivileged communities, such as the Orang Asli communities. And this is something that we have actually done since 2012. And on top of that, last year, we started going to schools to share about this program. And with that in mind, I would like to share with you a music video of the Katten project that we actually developed. I hope you can hear the sound.
Milo, sayang bumi. Project Dragon, sayang bumi. Flip, flap, flat. Oh, udahnya kita semula masukkan straw. Flip, flap, flat. Kumpul semua kita semula masukkan straw. Flip, flap, flat. Fact, Milo UHT bukan biasa-biasa. Dah habis diminum boleh jadi pum-pum pula. Serius ini betul, bukan cakap kosong. Kalau sayang bumi, Project Dragon kita sokong. Oh, mudahnya kita semula masukkan straw. Flip, flap, flap. Kumpul semua kita semula masukkan straw. Flip, flap, flap. Mudahnya kita semula masukkan straw. Flip, flap, flap. Kumpul semua kita semula bumi. Flip, flap, flap.
There you go. So just a reminder to consumers that just before you recycle your UHT packs, please remember to push in the straw, flip, flap, and flat. Okay. So the other exciting project that we launched this year was the recycling guide box, where it will actually be rolled out in about 1 billion product packs by end of this year. So we realized that for consumers, they are inundated with various types of logos and recycling messages on labels, and we just wanted to make it simple. So what we actually did was we created this recycling box where firstly, there were actually instructions for the consumers to teach them and to inform them whether this item can be separated or recycled. Secondly, what we actually had was there was an illustration of separate packaging components, so the consumers are aware on the type of components of that product packaging. Thirdly, what we actually developed and shared in this recycling box is the various components and material indication, where it teaches the consumers how to prep the material for recycling and the recycling categories it belongs to, so that consumers know what to actually do with it. Yeah. So this was something that we actually developed this year. And on top of that, we are really happy to have a partnership with MBPJ, something that we launched in August, where we collect door-to-door to the households in Ara Damansara and Bandar Sri Damansara. We collect dry mixed recyclables, and we ensure that it will be recycled and it doesn't end up in the landfill. So this is a pilot project that we have in both of these townships, and we hope to be able to scale it up to more townships soon. So of course, realizing that this complex problem of plastic is not something that Nestle can act alone, and it is something that has collective action, which is very much required. The multi-stakeholder partnership for Greater Bay is something that Nestle truly believes in, and for that, we were very happy to be the founding member of the Malaysia Sustainable Plastic Alliance, and we were actually there during the launch of this coalition when His Royal Highness Prince Edward was here to actually launch the program. So with that in mind, of course, these are just some of the very few things that we're actually doing. There are very much more, but because of time constraint, I'm only able to share some of this. So happy to answer any more questions during the Q&A session. Thank you. With that, I end my presentation.
Thank you so much, Amy, for sharing with us on what Nestle is doing. Next up, we would like to invite Cindy Shang, Global Procurement Manager of Plastic Sustainability in Unilever, to share a little bit more of what they're doing.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm very happy to join this forum. I'm Cindy based in Singapore. I'm currently the procurement manager for Unilever, and I'm specialized in sourcing recycled plastic for Asia area. So to share more about Unilever's sustainability efforts, I would like to just pull up a presentation. Hope you can see my screen. So in Unilever, we believe that plastic has its place, but that place is not in our streets, rivers, or oceans. So in 2019, we announced 2 new ambitious commitments for waste-free world, which is on top to our 2017 commitments. Therefore, we have 4 ambitious goals now, which is to reduce our virgin plastic packaging by 50% by 2025, and 100,000 tons will come from an absolute plastic reduction. By 2025, we would also help collect and process more plastic packaging than we sell. So this is a top up to our existing commitment, which is by 2025, all our packaging will be reusable, recyclable, or compostable, and we'll introduce at least 25% of the plastic packaging that comes from recycled plastic content, which is called post-consumer resins, PCR. Here, we don't consider the post-industrial recyclers because that's not really the key materials that is polluting the ocean. So it has been 1 year past since we announced the commitment. And here we would like to share some of the progress we've made over the last 1 year. 2020 is not an easy year, unlike the other, not a common year, unlike the other years. So despite the challenging conditions, we must not turn our backs on plastic pollution. This is by our CEO, Ellen Rowe. So we are proud to announce that we have now used up to 10% of our total plastic footprint, which is come from the post-consumer recycled plastic. 10% sounds like a small number, but actually our total global footprint is around 700,000 tons. So that means now in our packagings around the world, 70,000 tons of plastic is coming from this recycling route. 70,000 tons, you may not have an understanding, but that's actually equivalent to 7 Eiffel Towers. So it's a huge amount of plastic that we managed to save and recycle. And we are on track to deliver our 25% PCR by 2025. Next year, we are expecting to double this amount. So basically 20% of our total global footprint. Second, we are using alternative materials to plastic where appropriate, such as our new recyclable paper-based ice cream tubs, which will save around 4,500 tons of plastic. Actually now within Europe, our Magnum tubs are all made of recycled plastic, which is coming from the chemical recycling route. So that solves the huge problem of recycled material to be used in food contact. And we're proud to say that we are the first ice cream brand to use recycled plastic in our pints, in our tubs. Lastly, we continue to test new business models for refillable and reusable packagings. And we have developed country-specific plans to achieve our goal of collecting and processing more plastic than we sell. So I'm going to end here by showing a video. Just give me a moment.
Cindy, I think the video is not currently the main screen that you're sharing on Zoom.
Oh, is it? Sorry, let me try again. How about now?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, that ends my presentation. Happy to answer more questions in the Q&A session.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for sharing with us. Before we move on to we'll move on to the next section. Azliza Baizura Azmil, the Corporate Services Manager of Tesco Malaysia, to share with us a little bit more on what Tesco is doing to help reduce plastic pollution.
Hi, everybody. Let me share my screen. Hang on. Can you see? Good. So hi, I'm Azliza, and I look after several departments in Tesco. One of it is the one that's closest to my heart, is community. And on top of that, I look after legal, government relations, and communications. So, in Tesco, we're really, really proud and passionate about sustainability of our products, as well as our packaging, actually. And I think our aim is to ensure that our packaging works for our people and not against the planet, right? So in doing that, we are hoping to create a closed loop system where all of our packaging would then remain in the economy and not being wasted in the environment. So we have globally a target, and our commitment is to make all of our own brand packaging to be fully recyclable by 2025, very similar to my colleagues previously talking about making it fully recyclable. So how do we do this? I mean, we are committed to deliver this, and what we've done in each of the Tesco units, we've also looked at our own material in the own brand packaging to understand what they are, right? And with this, we also took a couple of actions called 4Rs. The first is to understand if we have materials that are quite harmful or very difficult to recycle. And if we find this, we will try to eliminate them, yeah? But if, for example, this hard to recycle material is not going to be 100% eliminated because it's going to cause a problem to the quality or the safety of the products, then we'll have to redesign the packaging so that it only, a bare minimum of this so-called red material, a material that we describe to be not optimum for recyclability in our packaging. So reduce this as much as we can. Okay, and of course, the opportunity to understand other alternatives as to packaging and reusing them is one of the things that we're trialing at the moment. And last but not least, if we can't do any of the three, one of the opportunities for us to retrieve all of those packaging so we can recycle them or upcycle them in the future. Okay. So I wanted to share with you a bit of a snapshot on where we are in Malaysia on this initiative. As you know, Tesco in the UK has gone through this process for longer, and it was only last year that Tesco Malaysia actually managed to pull together its resources to understand what kind of packaging that we have in Malaysia. So we did find through this analysis that we do have hard to recycle packaging. So where we found polystyrene, which is actually quite bad in our packaging, we've already sought to remove them. And we have managed to actually remove PVC from all of the packaging, especially in toothbrush where it's there the most. And that is equivalent to about 420 kilograms last year that we took out from the packaging in Malaysia. Next is about reduction of unnecessary plastics. We took an opportunity to look at our packaging for whole chicken, because that's really, really popular. It's a fast-moving item. And we've replaced it with an improved material. And that equates to a reduction of 9.1 million single-use bags the whole of last year, which is really, really massive. Yeah. We went a step ahead as well to understand if there is any other opportunity. As you know, for PE, which is the material that we use on the lids of our Tesco real mayonnaise, they are not bad. They're actually green materials that can be recycled. But we then ask ourselves, is it really necessary to have this additional piece when you don't have to? So we made a decision to sort of remove it from the lids of the real mayonnaise packaging. And with that, we are able to sort of get rid of another 58 kilograms of plastics from packaging. So next is about reuse. And in supermarkets, everybody is very concerned around the carrier bags, because it's now given free to customers. So what we did was to actually interview some of customers, and you know what? 75% of them say that they do have recyclable bags, but they just left it in their car. So what can we do? What can we do to sort of educate them and give them some incentive to bring the bags? So a year and a half ago, we did a trial, a campaign called the Unforgettable Bags, where we produced these little bags with very fancy fishery designs with a barcode on it. And if they bring the bag to shop, they would, and it will get scanned in the checkouts, you'll get a 20% rebate. So Malaysians love things like discounts and rebates. So we managed to sort of track the usage of this bag, and it was really quite encouraging because there's 55% of those people who got those bags actually reused them. So there is really quite a positive outcome from there. I think after people get used to the fact of bringing their bags, so it was very, very how do I say positive. And what we see from our data is that we've managed to reduce 21 million single-use carry bag during the duration of 18 months of the program. We've also taken the initiative to remove stop giving bags in relation to our online deliveries, because you deliver to the house, what do you need bag for? So that also helps in reducing the carrier bags, right? We are looking into opportunities to trial reusable containers. This was still being discussed with the operations team, and we hope to see some of this being introduced in our business in the near future. So as I said, last year was a big year for our trading law and technical team, our quality team, looking at all the material lists, and they have developed a full Malaysia recycle list with them. And I'm proud to say that they've gone on to replace 9 SKUs with fully recyclable packaging, and they're working really, really hard to innovate and push for more products that can be recyclable. So as Amy rightly pointed out, we are very excited when we're part of the founding members of the Plastic Alliance in Malaysia, and we're looking forward to work together with all of you, the students, the brand owners, the NGOs, and also the government to make the dream of making Malaysia plastic free at some point in time in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Azliza. Now we've heard from 3 prominent giants in consumer goods, and we can see how each initiative, because of the scale of these businesses, can create a lot of savings in plastic waste. Now, a lot of the efforts are in increasing recyclability, shifting to alternatives like paper, and with a lot of focus on consumers' personal efforts as well. Now, let's remember that the greater agenda in closing in all businesses is to close the loop. So let's hear next from a business that was built from the ground up with the mandate of not creating waste and enabling their consumers to live zero waste. Let's invite Claire Sensalot, CEO and founder of the Hive Bulk Food Store, to present us their zero waste approach to shopping.
Thank you so much, Melissa. So today I'm going to introduce you the Hive Bulk Food, which is a new business model for the Southeast Asian market. Can you see me properly? Okay, good. So what I'm going to introduce you is, first, I think a picture represents 1,000 words. So let me share with you a picture of one of my store, and this is me. Can you see properly? Yeah, does it show properly? Good. So that's me in one of my stores. So the Hive was created in 2016. I came from Hong Kong, and I've been living zero waste since 2010. And I didn't come from an F&B or retail background, but when I came to Hong Kong, I wanted to look for items that were package free. So I think here as Lisa, Amy, and Cindy, it will be interesting for you to hear that customers really want package-free products when possible. So what I started, and it's funny because Suyi and Melissa were part of my journey along the past 4 years. So what I decided to create was a store, a retail space where we could have as many products as possible package-free. We wanted to create as well, it was very an utopian store at the beginning and still is, where we wanted to really have a circular economy where we had local producers. So we would have the local jam maker who would produce jam, and customers could bring their empty glass jar, and we would return it to the producer. We would have all the system of reuse because we massively believe in reuse. And then now we have more than 1,000 SKUs in our stores, where customers just bring their containers, or if they do not have a container, we do give paper bags. So I think you can do this mainly for Tesco, and I think you're already doing it in Europe, where customers can bring their own paper bag or their own containers and refill. So I think that's very important. A lot of customers now do not want to have those disposable plastic in their house. I think we're very well aware of the fact that our oceans are full of plastic and we don't want plastic anymore. Unnecessary plastic is very important in medical, anything, but not necessarily for all the single-use items we consume within a few minutes. So the Hive was created like that, where we wanted to have a place where we could get our pasta or rice or, staple products, quinoa, all our flours. We have more than 30 flours package-free. And as much as possible organic. Now for the wet food, because again, we're in zero waste and we're really much sponsoring the circular economy. So we decided to give to all our customers the dry food, but at the same time, to give our customers a wet food as organic, locally organic produced, all vegetables and fruits. So we worked with a local organic farmer early from 2016. And he would people would pre-order their basket, so there would be absolutely no waste, because I know fresh food basket is a big concern for places like Tesco, because there is still a lot of wastage, and this food could be imported from South America and it's plastic package, so it's really a massive waste. So here what we do is our customers pre-order their organic farmer's baskets, so it's a certain price, and then the farmer once a week drop it at our stores, and the customers pick up it's an IKEA bag of and in KL we grow a lot of greens, so a lot of organic greens. So when they come and pick up their dry food, they have as well their wet food, and 100% of the money goes back to our organic farmer, because on top of being zero waste and on top of being circular economy, we really want to provide as much as possible organic products, because of course, organic products is better for the health of the individual, but as well of the planet Earth. So we don't pollute the soil and the river or anything like that. So for us, it was very important to have organic farmer partner coming to the Hive and making a decent living, making money out of, his work. So the Hive, so we provide the wet food, we provide the dry food, we provide as well all the soaps, all the cleaning products, everything is in bulk or package free, and as much as possible, locally made. People from KL are making our products here, so this is very important. At the same time, right from 2016 as well, we realized in Southeast Asia, you do not have many recycling centers. So recycling is not the proper way of disposing products. So we really need to make sure we repair and reuse. So we started to have all the e-waste, being small e-waste. Of course, do not bring a fridge at the Hive, we can't take, but small e-waste to be brought to our places. And we work with a place that will try to repair and take components if they can't repair and try to reuse them for something else. So we started with e-waste, we started with prescription glasses. So you can drop all your old prescription glasses, and we have a wonderful and angel lady who goes to Myanmar a few times a year, and she will bring all those glasses and will go to remote villages, and believe it or not, there will be someone who will have a similar eyesight as you or somewhere in the world. So everything can be, we truly believe at the Hive that everything can be reused. So we have the e-waste, we have the glasses, we have as well the cloth. We partnered with Cloth Care, so people can drop their clothes and we can we got tons. And again, the Hive is a small store, so you can imagine if Tesco starts to do e-waste collection, starts to do cloth collect, I mean, it would be huge, really, because that's another scale, right? Again, I do not believe recycling is a solution, but really the reuse is, to me, the solution. There is always usage. Mainly in Southeast Asia, you have so many clever people who can always do things with what we think is trash. We can always reuse that. So at the Hive, again, e-waste, cloth, prescription glasses. And now, since the MCO that started in the pandemic, when everything shipped online and packaging has been exploded even more this year, which is really dramatic. So we became not a recycling, because again, we don't believe, but a reuse center. So we're asking our customers and even people who do not shop at the Hive, come to the Hive, drop your bubble wrap, drop your small boxes, cardboard boxes. We will reuse them, because we do a lot of shipping now, which is against the ethos of the Hive. You should come, but it's pandemic time. So people drop their shopping bags, their bubble wrap, and we got, I mean, you would not believe how many. This is a picture taken at my smallest store. Once a week I go with my car and I collect everything. And it's too much. So now we became to the point where we're telling other small businesses, come to the Hive in Bangsar, which is our biggest store, and pick up anything you want for reuse for yourself, for your small business. If you do shipping, just come to our stores, pick up whatever you want. We don't need to know what you do with it. Just pick it up and reuse it for your shipping purposes. So I think that's a business model that is, I think it's a future, to be honest. And I'm sure Tesco, Unilever, and Nestle are moving towards that as well, where reuse, 100% compostable is the key. Again, I really don't think recycling is going to work in the Southeast Asian world, because we just do not have the facilities. So even if you do products that are 100% recyclable, people do not know what to do with it. You know what I mean? Because we do not have, mainly if you're outside of KL, they do not have the proper recycling plants on all of it. So I think really the reuse and the compostable concept is the key to go. And as you can see from the Hive, I'm not going to say it's a success right now. It's obviously very difficult. It's 2020, but customers want that. Customers do not want to add more trash to the planet. So they really want, I mean, we feel good, mainly me, of course, but I feel good when I go, I can get my detergent from Unilever and my reusable, I come with my container and my liquid washing liquid, that makes me feel good as a human being. So I think you have as well the feel good factor. And I think we are all parents, and it's really terrible what we're giving the next generation. So the Hive is a small example at a very small scale of what can be achieved. And it is possible. It is really possible. And I'm not the only one, because of course we have multiple stores now. So I know I have only 5 minutes, so I'm going to stop on that. Sorry, I'm quite passionate about the subject. So I'm going to stop share. I'm not a techie, that's it.
Thank you so much, Claire. That was excellent. Thanks so much for sharing those insights for our other business panel members to draw inspiration from. I think the key thing that we kept hearing from you was local. Your business is all about supporting local businesses. And when you localize and shorten the supply chain, that is a real key success factor to eliminate waste and enable the reusable model. I also love the part where you act as a hub to solve all our problems by managing and recirculating what would usually be considered waste into a second life. Now, waste is an ongoing problem that we can't design away overnight. So next up, we're going to be hearing from Dr. Siva Palan, the head of Environmental Preservation and Innovation Center, EPIC, to share more about waste management and recycling in plastic.
And thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. I am on the last on the list. Why? Because I handle the last part of the value chain. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the 4 speakers before me. I think what you all are doing are excellent, excellent jobs that will ensure that my part of the value chain actually reduces as much as possible, and the effort to then put that into a meaningful recycling program or uptake program or reuse program or whatsoever will be meaningful towards the plastic. So I have got very few slides to share, but what I would like to take you all through is sorry. Okay, so that's my opening slide. That's the Center of Excellence for Waste Management, which is in Seremban, Malaysia, Sendayan. But let me just do a reality check here. No matter what, and like I said, I really congratulate the people who are doing all these efforts. But in 2017, a total of 13.5 million metric tons was disposed. In 2018, it was 13.8 million metric tons. From what I understand, of course, the numbers are not finalized yet. In 2020, the number will be something like 14.2 to 14.3 million metric tons per year. And on a daily basis, everyone is contributing a minimum of 1 kg per person per day to the 22 million people that are in Malaysia. This is the overall generation. And when we talk about solid waste, we talk about all the different types of waste. And if you look at your left-hand side, then right-hand side, then you see what's the composition. And if you look at it, a good 13% of that is plastics. This is not very far from the global number or the Asian number. So there's a lot. There's a good 50% of organic waste, paper, diapers. Diapers is actually coming up. For the life of me, we actually throw something like 12 to 15% of diapers every year. Glass, garden waste, metals. So yes, all of us are going towards zero waste, but as much as possible, we would like to remove a lot of this material from its ultimate destination, especially in Malaysia. It's the landfills. How do we remove these problems, and how do we take this out of our daily lives? We cannot. Let's put into perspective a few things. Until and unless we reduce our consumption, the amount of waste that will be generated is in proportion of our consumption. Let's understand that. So the people are the one who are generating the waste. The people are the one who are generating the plastic problem. It is not the plastic suddenly grew 2 legs and 2 hands and walked over from the waste paper basket into the environment and into the marine litter. No, it is the people. It is us, the human beings, who are doing this problem. So we need to understand what we are doing and how we are doing it. So let's understand one thing. If we keep on saying that we don't want plastic, but our consumption rate is still the same, and we either switch it to a different type of plastic, biodegradable whatsoever, but our way of handling the material needs to be very well addressed. We need to understand that plastic cannot be put in any other place. It has to go through a proper recycling system. And that recycling system needs to be addressed, and it needs to be done in a proper manner. Now, a lot of us know about 2 to 3 years back, there was a big hype about plastic coming from all over the world into Malaysia for recycling. Now, let's understand that situation. That situation was how the European countries, or whichever country, I don't want to, it can be US, it can be Europe, it can be even some Asian countries, affluent Asian countries, were then shipping out the plastic which was so-called recycled, but not exactly recycled in their compound, it was shipped to Malaysia for the Malaysian companies to recycle this material. And let's understand one thing. Economics of recycling is two different things. We all like to say we can recycle plastics, but not all plastics are recycled. Only a certain type of plastics have the economic value to be recycled, whereas a good 50% of the type of plastics do not have economical viability in recycling. So the concept here is we have to collect and then bring it to a recycling center, and that recycling center must then have not only the technical capability to recycle the material, but also the demand for that recycled material to be bought back by the consumers. Not the consumers, but the manufacturers. So when we look at the whole different type of plastics, now we always talk about plastics, but we all don't understand that plastics are made out of so many different components. It's HDPE, it's LDPE, it's PP, it's PS, and so many different types of plastics. Now, each and every type of plastic has its demand. Here, I would like to bring one example that is very successful in Malaysia as far as recycling is concerned. I think all of us are very familiar with the guy that comes on every Saturday and Sunday and calls himself Paper Lama or old newspaper. Now, why is that this person can come around and collect old newspaper and all of that? Because he has a demand center which is paying enough for his petrol, for his car maintenance, and for him to make a living, to come to your house individually, pick up that material, pay you that 50 cents or 1 ringgit or whatsoever for that material, bring it back to a collection center, and then go and recycle, and then send that recycled material back to the demand center, which then pays for that whole value chain. Now, that is the economics of recycling, or ensuring that material has demand to go all the way out. So when the material doesn't have demand to go all the way to the centers for recycling, that material gets left behind in the environment. And that is the material that ends up in the waste generation. So now my second slide is where I talk about recycling and where are the bottlenecks. So if you look at it, the value chain is that new merchandisers go to customers, customers go to disposal, after they use, they go to disposal, disposal goes to collection, collection goes to recycling, recycling goes to recovered items and the off-taker. So after looking at the whole value chain, this is the value chain for anything, whether it's plastics, whether it's metal, whether it's you name it, whether it's diapers or whatsoever. So where are the demand centers for the single-use plastic wrapper for your sweets, for the single-use plastic wrapper in your for your straws? Where are the off-takers and where are the demand centers? These are the things that we need to think of. That's number one. Number two, does it make economical sense? Again, does it make economical sense for the customer, and how does it then bring this economical sense for the customer to then put it through a system that goes through the disposal, collection? How are we going to do the collection? Is it door to door? Is it can we recreate a door to door? Can we recreate some kind of collection system? Can we recreate the Paper Lama, the old newspaper system for plastics? I always ask that. Can we recreate that system for plastics? And then can we send it to the off-taker? So that's so here what I say is, it's dominated by informal sector. There's lack of material availability, but, or can I say, not lack of material availability, the material is available, but how do we get it to the different processing plants? And of course, a reliable and innovative way of how to solve this problem. Now, my third slide and my last slide is just to tinkle everyone. Can recycling be digitized? So we have AirAsia. who is today you can book your ticket by just using your handphone. So can I recycle using your handphone? Can we use the recycling just to just say, take some photos, snap it, and then say that, okay, this is how much I have. Someone will come, either we go and drop it off at centers. How do we create these centers to say that these are all the collection centers that we have around our place? And how can that collection centers be then connected to the recyclers, and then that recyclers can then be connected to the manufacturers to say, hey guys, I've got 100 tons of plastic, I've got 100 tons of HDPE, I've got 200 tons of PP, I've got 300 tons of LDPE, which then creates that market demand, which will then remove this material from the environment. With that, thank you very much. I will hand it over to Melissa.
Thank you so much, Dr. Siva. You've given us a lot to consider. Thanks for giving us the reality of our situation. We're covering as much basis as we can. Thank you so much once again to all our business panelists. We've covered plastic reduction initiatives by large corporations, which have a lot of moving parts. We can't just turn off the machine. And understandably, they have a lot more factors to consider than a smaller business that is nimble like the Hive. There's a lot of examples that we can learn from our local circular businesses, and as well as the challenges that we face here in Malaysia that may not be as applicable overseas. But it would be interesting to see how these large corporates with a global network and immense resources can do at a larger scale from these examples. Now we're going onwards to our anticipated part of the segment today, where our youth panel will ask hard questions of the business panel on plastic pollution. So let's start off with something a little bit more approachable, the role that consumers play in fighting plastic pollutions and how businesses and consumers can work in alliance towards that goal. So let's keep in the interest of time, let's keep our answers as brief as we can. Let's kick it off with Hui Wen.
Okay, so everyone. So this question is directed to Tesco. So how do you plan to teach your consumers to be a part of your agenda to reduce and reuse plastic? So how feasible do you think it will be for Tesco to put a complete ban on plastic?
Hi, Rowan. Thanks for a great question. I think it's in our gift. We've been quite, we are with you. So the more we educate the customer, the better. So as you know, we started with the unforgettable bags and stuff like that, right? Giving them some incentives. But I think there's more yet to do, And one of the things which we also do is an outreach as well. I don't know whether you know, but we also adopt schools. Yeah, there's 63 schools that we adopt, underserved school for each of our store in DCs. And what we do in some of the programs is also teach the younger generation, about food waste and as well as the plastic waste. So hopefully the power of little children will help sort of engage with their parents and their community and help teachers and become a better consumer when they grow up. Yeah. And one of the big things is also our packaging initiatives. So as and when we go and introduce new packaging, making it more green, we will shout it out loud, right? And I think forum like this is really, really good so that we impart our intention and our plans with you, and you can do the same by spreading it out to your peers. Yeah, and collaborating with us. We love to work with people and organizations to sort of, make the event bigger. Yeah. And to your second question about how do you want to you think we can ban plastic? You're reading my mind, because as we speak right now, the team in the office is putting together a paper, to tune it together with the business operations team to see how we can make this a reality. So watch this space, and I'll give you a buzz when we finally got rid of the carry bags in the store, hopefully next year. Fingers crossed.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Aziza.
Okay.
All right, thank you to the both of you. I guess we have something to look forward to in the next year from Tesco. So moving on to the crucial fact that businesses must take their responsibility for reducing plastic pollution seriously and take the lead in initiating waste reduction measures and internalizing it in their strategy going forward. We have a very pertinent question from Sui.
Hi, thank you, Melissa. And thank you for all of the panelists for your presentation just now. Yeah, so in Zero Waste Malaysia, we do emphasize and we do encourage our consumers and also public to recycling less, because we understand that recycling is a very energy intensive process. And also according to Mac Alenata Foundations, as part of the new plastic economy global commitment, over 350 organizations have recognized that wherever relevant, reuse business models should be explored to reduce the need for single-use plastic packaging. Are your companies, so this question goes to Nestle and Unilever. So are your companies considering refill and reuse models in the next few years, and what kind of action plan that is going to be carried out, and also the proposed timeline? If not, what kind of challenges and barriers behind not being able to do so? That's my questions.
Maybe I can start first. Hi, Sui. So I think it's important to know first. I think plastic does have a role to play, and it really essentially helps us deliver high quality foods to consumers, and to help to reduce a bit of food loss as well. But having said that, plastic must not end in nature, and I think we all can agree with that. This will of course then require us to rethink packaging with new materials, as well as alternative like reusable or refill options, which is what the zero waste stores are actually doing. For Nestle, we've actually set up the Nestle Institute for Packaging Sciences to do exactly that, to accelerate our efforts to bringing functional, safe, and environmental friendly packaging to the market. I would like to share with you some examples that we have. For example, in Switzerland, we have actually piloted the reusable and refillable dispensers for pet food, as well as Nescafe soluble coffee. We've also started using paper-based packaging globally for Nesquik, for example, which is similar to Milo in the States, the Yes snack bar, which is in the UK, and Smarties as well, the chocolate bar. And of course, because we are a global company, definitely this is something that you would see coming to Malaysia soon as well. It's just that because product food and safety is something that remains a non-negotiable priority for us, this is something that we definitely need to consider very carefully before we actually make any changes. The other point that I want to also bring across is also the issue of portability, because we also have to cater our food to communities who live in rural areas or kampong that may not have access to stores nearby, which means that they would need packaging such as plastic to actually help to store it for longer, for example. So definitely this is something that we are looking at, and it would come into Malaysia soon. It's just that I'm not able to share with you some of the examples here yet, because it's still being work in progress, but definitely you'll hear from us once we have that in line. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but I guess this question is also for Unilever, and unlike Nestle, we are into different material types. Actually, we have 3 divisions. One is home care, the second is beauty and personal care, the last is on foods. So most of our products actually cover it's non-food application. So for dispensing, for refill, it's actually more suitable. So here I would like to share just one study that you mentioned about Ellen MacArthur Foundation as well. Unilever is actually the founding member of this, and together with Ellen MacArthur Foundation, we've outlined 4 models of refillable and reusable consumer products. So when we talk about refill, it's not just the Hive model that we've learned, where you go to the shops and then refill for the amount that you need for the packaging, for the product. There's actually 4 models. So first is refill at home, where consumers can order the refills for delivery to their homes. And second, refill on the go, where shoppers can refill their containers through dispensing systems in the stores. The third is return from home, where consumers can arrange for packaging to be collected from their home and then get refilled. Last is the return on the go, where consumers can return their packagings at a drop-off point, and it is collected and then refilled by the manufacturers. So when we talk about the refill models, we actually started to pilot in a few examples. So here I would like to share some of our pilots around the world. So some are closer to Asia, some are a bit further. So the first one is actually the intelligent refill ordered by applications. So these in Chile, most of the Latin American countries, the consumers can actually order a van to come over their communities. Then they will come down to refill with their own packagings for the dishwash or even laundry detergents. In Malaysia, we actually cater, in Indonesia, we actually cater to a lot of restaurants with their favorite sweet soya sauce, which is Bango, and that is actually in reusable packs. So for the restaurants, when they finish the bulk bottles, they can actually return it to Unilever, we'll get it washed and refilled and delivered next time. And also in Europe, we've launched this eco refill where consumers don't have to buy a big bottle, where they can buy the concentrates and then just mix with water at home. So that actually helped to save the plastic packaging as well. Lastly, in Indonesia, we've piloted a similar concept of a hive model where we have a shop, then you can refill all your Unilever products with your own packagings, and we also provide some packagings. So this is definitely the something that we would like to try in the developing markets in Southeast Asia, and definitely Malaysia is those on the list. So I would say there's no one model that fits for all. We have to understand the consumer needs, and we are trying different models in different places, and definitely we would like to cover Malaysia as our next step. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Amy and Cindy. Looking forward to have the refill in Malaysia. Yeah, might be a solution for rural areas.
All right, thank you to all of you. These challenges are real, but thankfully, why these questions come up again and again is because of the urgency of the matter, but the reality of the challenges mean we might see these measures come in more in the medium term rather than the immediate. So at the same time, it's really encouraging to see all these pilots already being held, and we really look forward to seeing all these potential partnerships blossom between our consumer goods giants and our local community-based solutions. So moving on to the next question, ultimately not all goods and services will be able to adopt the reusable model, especially given these challenges. Recycling and waste management have been relied on thus far, almost as an enabler to continue with business as usual, and recycling has been expected to close the loop. However, as most of us would know, only 9% of all plastics ever made has been recycled. Recycling has its own disadvantages and challenges. So maybe we'll move on to a question from Sophia.
Hi, it was nice hearing everyone's idea, very inspiring as well. This question is directed for Epic, Dr. Siva. I understand that you preach the effective ways of recycling. So my question is recycling the ultimate goal for plastic waste management? And why is so little plastic being recycled, which is less than 10%? Is it because Malaysia relies heavily on human labor, or for plastic waste segregation, which is inefficient because it's prone to error? What are some of the ways Malaysia can improve with the help of technology to boost the country's efficiency for plastic waste management?
Thank you, Sophia. That's a whole load of questions. But yes, very pertinent questions. Let me address that one by one. Is recycling the way forward? I think we cannot move away from recycling. Recycling definitely needs to be there. Even if it's not for plastics, there are so many other materials. I think I showed you all that in my first slide with all the different types of waste. So recycling cannot be taken out from that value chain. Yes, I agree it should go up the value chain in terms of reuse and reduce and all of that, but recycling cannot be moved out of the value chain. That's number one. Now, number two, how can this be improved, or is it something that needs to be stuck in Malaysia? Now, understand the fact that plastics are not just plastics. Plastics are made out of so many different types of plastics. So you have the PE, you have the PET, you have the HDPE, you have the LDPE and all of that. Now, the current issue is certain material has a good economic value in recycling it. So that gives these materials the value to be recycled, and the people on the ground who are recycling it are available to pick it up and send it because it makes valuable sense to them. It gives them enough to buy a plate of chicken rice or a plate of whatsoever to make them sustain themselves. Now, the other material, which I always talk about, meaning your bread packaging, your small packages, your sweet wrapper, and these kind of things, which do not have value, or I won't say they do not have value, they have minimal value in recycling. When there is minimal value in recycling, if anyone picks it up also, when it goes to the recyclers do not have a demand center to recycle it and send it to. So the manufacturers and the manufacturers now are saying, I don't want these items, I only want these items. So this is what you call cherry picking in recycling. So because of cherry picking in recycling, certain material gets recycled, and that is why you have that 10% and all of that. Certain material doesn't get recycled because of it doesn't have that value. So until and unless the manufacturers comes and says, I want all different types of plastics to be recycled, and this is the demand, then you are looking at all the material being recycled. So that addresses the need for recycling and all of that. Now, your third and fourth question, which is how Malaysia is going to go forward and whether it's always going to be labor intensive. Now, understand the fact that in Malaysia itself, we have this thing called T20, M40, and B40. I think you know what T20 is, the higher income bracket for 20% only. The medium income is 40%, and the below the low income is 40% of the 32 million people in Malaysia. Recycling is an option for them. Recycling is not let me rephrase that. For the T20 and the M40, recycling is an option. For the B40, recycling is an income. So when it's an income, recycling brings the chicken rice to their table, recycling brings their McDonald's to their table, recycling brings food to your table, and it will still be a labor-intensive recycling industry. Why? Because of these 40% of people who can still make an income out of all the material there. So let's not deprive them of that economic income. What we need to do, but that doesn't mean that you throw everything into the environment so that they can go and pick up. It is their income, they will do it, but they can only do this as an income if the demand for the material is there. Why do we not complain about aluminium cans? Because the value of aluminium can is 2 ringgit per kilo. 350 per kilo. The value for plastics is only 25 cents to 50 cents per kilo. So understanding this will then give you a whole different range of how to recycle and when to recycle. Now, your last question is how to then move this recycling program. Like I said, how can, like Air Asia came out, now everyone can fly because they brought it to the digital economy. How do you digitize recycling? That's my question. Right now, I haven't seen it, but let's see if we can move it forward on that platform. Thanks a lot, Melissa. Back to you. I hope I answered all your questions.
Thanks. I'm so sorry we had to shorten that answer. We really love hearing from you and again, giving us the reality of the plastic value chain. There has already been significant efforts to work through those challenges by industry and government in coalitions and pacts locally and globally. But it also highlights the added urgency for us to adopt other models that promote circularity within our economy that can be implemented, hopefully, in a shorter timeline. So let's explore how that reality can be in the near future and what we can learn from local case studies already. We have our second last question from Hui Wen for the Hive.
Okay, so hi, this question is directed to Ms. Claire. So 95% of all businesses in Malaysia are small and medium-sized enterprises, also known as SME. So most of them do not have an environmental sustainability plan, yet alone promoting sustainable livelihood. So what has the Hive done as an SME to promote zero waste that other SMEs can take as an example to fit into their business? Ms. Claire, you're muted.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Wiwen. I'm going to be very fast because we're super short on time.
Yeah.
So that's a very big question. And the Hive is a zero waste business. So that's what we do. So what I would say here for all the businesses in Malaysia, so I'm going to extract myself from the Hive. I'm going to put myself as if I'm an employee, okay? So it's easier and faster. So here, we don't want to start baby steps, and you do not implement any action that would require money. So you need to start, because right now we're in a recession and it's 2020 during a pandemic. So all the businesses are suffering financially. So you can't ask businesses to say, we need, solar panels, we need a composting. You can't, it would be too much to ask. And you need to start with small and direct actions that they can do today. So today you can ask, if you have a small company, even 5 employees, to say, let's have a no plastic container for food, because in Malaysia, we love to take out food. So you bring your containers to get your mamak at lunchtime, or take your teh tarik at lunchtime. You bring your own containers. You don't need fancy container. You can just reuse the previous containers, because you all have those takeout containers at home. So just reuse those old takeout container, all scratchy, doesn't matter. You just reuse those constantly, because one of the biggest problem in Malaysia is the takeout food containers. They're all over our rivers right now, and mainly now during pandemic time. So first, companies can say that, and you can have a small fine, which can be fun, like a 5 ringgit fine. If you bring this disposable container, it's not a reusable, you haven't reused it, and you give it to Zero Waste Malaysia, you have like small fine and a little piggy bank, and just keep on giving the money to a local charity like Zero Waste Malaysia, so they can implement it into a big thing. So that would be the first thing for me. Disposable goods. So same for food and drinks. You bring your own tumbler. We all have those from Nestle at home. So you just reuse those constantly. Same with cutlery. Second thing is, if you have a small company, again, and it can be anytime small, but most of us are small, with 95%, as you say, you say at lunchtime, no meat, or if we have meat once a week. Why I'm saying this? Because we all know that livestock is the #1 carbon emission. So we do need to eat less meat. And that's something you can implement right away. We can do it tomorrow. It costs us nothing. So right away, you will lower the carbon emission if we eat less meat. So for me, now it's 1:43, I would do this. No more plastic container, disposable one, just reusable one. Bring an old one, go to the mamak downstairs, refill it with your favorite food. Bring your own container, refill it with the teh tarik from downstairs, your favorite drink, and try to reduce your meat consumption. That would be my message right now. And you try to remove the garbage in the office. Once you remove the garbage in the office, people have to think of what to do with their garbage. That would be my basic first step.
Thank you so much, Claire, and great question, Hui Wen. I think this will be a really great time to bring into focus that this resources is already available free from Zero Waste Malaysia. They have a handbook called Zero Waste Office that any SME and also our big corporates here can apply straight away using simple steps like how Claire mentioned. Okay, we are moving on to our last question. Unfortunately, we can speak all day about this topic, and we have a lot of great questions that unfortunately we're skipping over, but we will close with an excellent point of consideration for all our panelists and guests here today by Sophia. Unfortunately, although this question is addressed to everyone, just raise your hand whichever panelist is interested to answer this. Sophia?
Hi, yeah, I have a question here, and I quote from the United Nations Standard Development Goals, UN SDGs, on their perspective for Malaysia. Malaysia is in the motion to reach environmental success. However, the country must be more ambitious with its goals and targets. How can we as a nation move forward to reach environmental success more ambitiously? So who will go first? Should we go with maybe Nestle?
Hi. Okay, I think that's a really great question. Thank you, Sophia. I think looking at the UN Sustainable Development Goals, for example, the goals is quite they are quite mammoth as we know it, but definitely not unattainable. Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, I mean, even if you look at the Nestle vision of ensuring that none of our packaging, including plastic, end up in landfill or litter, is actually a tall order. But will we achieve it? I really don't know. But more importantly, I think what we need to realize is that companies like us are really taking steps to move ahead and knowing this is the direction that everyone is moving towards. And this is, and when we actually put goals and commitments up there, we are very confident that it will bear at least some fruit. And we do realize that this is obviously very ambitious. And today there's so much more work to be done. Whatever I just shared was just a drop in the ocean. But but what we are aware is that it's not an issue that Nestle alone can do, which is why Nestle really believes in the power of harnessing the power and knowledge of various stakeholders, which is why we really believe in collaboration. And having that multi-stakeholder partnership would be really helpful for us to actually achieve such a big task. Yeah. So collaborative and collective action is definitely vital for us to advance the circular economy and the UN SDGs. And we all realize, hearing from today's panel, everyone has a role to play. And as long as everyone plays their part, we know and we're confident we can actually make a difference. So I'd just like to close with that, the Nestle business approach is what we call creating shared value. And where it states that for our company to do well, the communities in which we operate does really well too. And this is the exact same concept that Sir David Attenborough actually mentioned in his latest documentary, which is the secret of life is that a species can only thrive when everything around it thrives as well. And I think that would actually says a lot about to your question. Yeah. So thank you very much.
And would anybody else like to share to Sophia's question before we close?
Hi, it's me. It's Lisa. So I think Amy sums it all. It's everybody's responsibility, not just one person, to actually push this forward. I think we have platforms to do this, and one of it could be the Malaysia Plastic Pact, right? And it took some time since its inception. So I think if we all work together, sharing is a good piece of platform for movement, and actually connecting with one another would be key. I think the government also needs to step in to also help in this, because there's some parts of it where we can't just leave the national and the market forces to deal with it. So it is a collaborative effort from everyone. I would like to see that being pushed more in this coming year. So.
All right, if anyone else has any closing remarks, and not, we'll move to close. And there we have it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much to all our youth panelists, our business panelists, and especially our audience who have stayed engaged throughout the session. Why I appreciate panels like this is the ongoing communication that has to happen between youth, consumers, and businesses. When the task at hand is large, when the world needs to shift into a new direction, collaboration is key. The more heads, the better. And from the bottom up, the persistence and innovative minds of grassroots solutions, coupled with the best minds in businesses, can together solve some of our world's biggest, most urgent issues. Thank you once again, and have a good day.
Thank you so much to Melissa for moderating such an interesting session where the children get to ask all the really tough questions, and I must say they have definitely delivered them. So thank you to all the panelists and everyone that tuned into this session, and please do not do stay in this channel, because we do have exciting sessions coming up ahead. Let me just run through the sessions with them. So I'll have my colleague Alfrance to share with us a picture of what's happening in terms of the schedule wise. Alfrance? So we really breeze through this. So later on at 2 p.m, the next one will be a session that talks about education, awareness, helping solve the plastic pollution problem in Malaysia, followed by the 3 p.m. official launch of Plastic Oceans UK's education films in Bahasa Malaysia. And later on, slightly after, just a little bit more will be the next session after the grand opening launch would be at 5 p.m. where there'll be a dialogue on plastic pollution contributing to climate change. 7 p.m. will be the creation of Sabah Plastic Neutral, which is a community movement, and 8:30 p.m. will be plastic waste recycling initiatives in Sabah community as well. And last but not least, as the last session, we will be having a Sabah Plastic Neutral Party, where they're going to be celebrating a brand new Sabah. So please do stay tuned with us on this platform, and we look forward to an exciting channel ahead. Thank you so much, Melissa and the rest of the panelists, and do continue your good work, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.